Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reacting to a video called The 15 Most Beautiful Castles in Germany. I think Germany is kind of famous, I believe if I'm not mistaken, for having a lot of castles. I don't know why they have so many and they actually have kept them, which is a marvel. But yeah, only 15. I'm pretty sure there's more, but this is the 15 most beautiful, so probably we're going to be marveled by them. So let's check it out and comment, like, and subscribe.
Hi there, welcome to Lux Attic. Today we'd like to show you the 15 most beautiful castles in Germany. With over 2,000 years of rich history, Germany is home to some of the most beautiful castles in the entire world. A country with more than 20,000 palaces, forts and manors, just waiting to be discovered.
That's a lot of them.
Whether you're a history buff, just appreciate beautiful architecture, or you're into photography, then castle visits must be on your bucket list.
I just want to be looking
If you're
at
not
pretty
sure
things.
which places you should visit first, we've made a list with the 15 most beautiful castles in Germany. Number 15. Glucksburg Castle. One of the most important Renaissance castles in Northern Europe, the superb Glucksburg Castle sits on the Flensburg Fjord, in the town of Glucksburg. It was built on an old monastery site, which housed many dukes and nobility, since the middle of the 16th century. Since it's very close to the Danish border, this castle was also used by many Danish kings throughout history. Owned by a foundation headed by Christoph, Prince of Schleswig-Holstein, it now operates as a museum, which is open to the public. If you happen to be in the vicinity, it's definitely worth a day trip, especially when their gardens are open.
I like it. I'm not saying the gardens, it's pretty.
Burg Altena. The imposing Altena Castle is located in the small town of Altena, a 40-minute drive from Dortmund. Built in the 12th century on the Klusenberg Hill, this medieval castle was owned by the Counts of Berg. The House of Berg eventually abandoned it. The castle was even used as a courthouse and prison at one point in time, and in 1914 Richard Skierman turned it into a youth hostel, which is still operating today.
Oh, wow!
The hostel is located on the lower castle courtyard, while the rest of the rooms have been turned into a museum.
Oh, I like that.
Number 13. Wartburg Castle. This charming hilltop castle, located in the town of Eisenach, in central Germany, was designated a UNESCO World Heritage.
This one looks crazy because there's nothing surrounding it. It's just a mountain and this weird castle that looks like, I don't know, some sort of wall.
Site in 1999. Over 1,000 years of Germany's rich history can be still noticed today, as some of its original structures from the 12th and 15th centuries have been beautifully preserved.
Love that.
The interiors were restructured in the 19th century, turning the Wartburg Castle into a must-see attraction.
Wow. I'm
12.
seeing a lot of
Lowenberg Castle.
different styles there.
A late 18th century castle of lions, the Lowenberg Castle is a medieval castle which was purposely built as a fortress. Sitting in the Burgpark Wilhelmshöhe, near the town of Kassel, the Grimm brothers' charming city, this castle is also a must-see. From the ruins that have been beautifully preserved, to its Baroque-style interiors, the armory, and the neo-Gothic chapel, not to mention the splendid outdoors, this castle offers lots to see.
The chapel is gorgeous.
Number 11. Schönberg Castle.
Oh, it's pink! What?
Today, the Schönberg Castle is a fancy hotel restaurant, located in the UNESCO World Heritage Site, above the medieval town of Obersel. Perfect for foodies, the menu is delectable, and the breathtaking views of the Engeholer Valley make it a culinary experience of its own.
Absolutely.
The building itself has quite a special history as well. It was first built in the early 900s, and it was destroyed in 1689, during the War of the Grand Alliance by French soldiers.
I know, it goes without saying, I know Europe is really old, but when you listen to those things, it was built in the 300s, and then it was destroyed in the 1600s, which was already old by that time period. I think it's crazy.
It remained in ruins for roughly 200 years, when a German-American family restored it. The town council eventually took ownership, and since 1957 it is leased to the Hulp family.
Oh, another family.
Number 10. The Mespelbrunn Castle.
Oh, this is so
About an hour drive from Frankfurt, this late medieval, early Renaissance castle is a photographer's dream.
I love that one.
The area around the superb Mespelbrunn Castle is surrounded by woods, and the castle sits right on a picturesque lake.
Yes.
As of today, the family of the Counts of Ingelheim are the owners of this magical castle and still live on site.
Oh my god,
Who wouldn't want that? Number 9. Dreienberg Castle. This late 19th century private villa, situated about 20 minutes from the city of Bonn and 40 minutes from Cologne, has a very interesting history. If you believe in dragon tales, this one will surely capture your attention. Siegfried, hero of Nibelungenlied, apparently slayed the dragon
Oh.
Fafnir on those hills, and bathed in his blood to become invulnerable.
Oh, like the story.
Today, the castle is
opera.
fully restored and open to the public on the weekends. Its architecture is unique, and even though it's
gorgeous.
not as big as other castles in this list, it deserves to be ranked as one of the most famous castles in Germany.
It's very big.
Next up, number 8. The Hohenschwangau Castle.
Ooh.
The mighty Hohenschwangau Castle is not only one of the most beautiful castles on this list, but its surrounding area is truly breathtaking as
It's
well.
nestled in the woods.
This castle is situated in the county of Ostalgäu, in southwestern Bavaria, very close to the Austrian border. The great King Ludwig II of Bavaria lived in this palace in the late 19th century. His
Okay.
father, King Maximilian II, rebuilt and redecorated the castle in a stunning Gothic revival style, which is still preserved today. Number
we didn't
7.
get there.
The famed Heidelberg Castle.
This was
What
I
makes
knew
this
where it
castle
was.
so popular with tourists? The Heidelberg Castle was built in the early 1200s, but was struck by
Wow.
lightning in 1537, and never fully
Lightning?
recovered.
Ah,
It still sits on partial ruins, even though the castle was expanded by 1650.
how big
In
was the lightning?
1764, another lightning bolt destroyed some of the rebuilt sections.
Another one?
If you're interested in guided tours of the courtyard, the terrace, and its surroundings, it is recommended you
crazy.
book your visit in advance, as this is one of the most popular palaces to visit in Germany.
Hopefully you don't get struck by lightning when you're visiting.
Number 6. Reichsburg or the Kokum Castle. This imperial castle thrones over the Mosel River Valley, right above the colorful town of Kokum, and it's one of the largest medieval castles in the area.
Oh, it's the largest.
If you want that picture-perfect photo and a
Oh!
unique cultural experience, this is the site you may want to visit.
Yeah, I love the little
During the
town
summer,
there.
there are lots of events here, which immerse the visitors into the medieval life at the castle. But at Christmas there's a special Kokum Castle Christmas, with traditional
Christmas.
preparations and festivities.
Love that. Absolutely would go
5.
there.
The Schwerin Castle.
You sure?
Since
I'm gonna guess.
1857, the extraordinary Schwerin Castle is state-owned, but before that it housed dukes and the Grand Dukes of Mecklenburg. It is
yeah.
an old castle which dates back to the early 900s, but
This is
more
stunning.
records can be found from the 1800s on. Throughout the centuries,
okay.
this castle went through many updates, and only parts of the building, dating back to the 16th and 17th
Oh,
centuries,
original?
were retained. This beautiful piece of architecture is surrounded by lakes and forests in the northern
Gorgeous.
part of Germany. Number 4. The charming Liechtenstein Castle.
Oh, like
This
the country?
spectacular Gothic revival castle is another privately owned castle located in southern
private.
Germany, about an hour drive from Stuttgart. The unique history of the superb Liechtenstein castle dates back to the years 1100. It
Oh
was
my
destroyed
God.
at least twice, and rebuilt in the 14th century, about
Sure,
500
it
meters
was.
from the original ruins. It had a few different owners throughout the centuries,
This
and
is-
went through countless restorations. Its rich history and its picturesque setting is probably
Yeah.
the reason why it is one of the most popular castles in Germany.
I don't understand how it's built.
Number 3.
What?
The mighty Hohenzollern Castle.
This one looks
Another privately owned castle.
Very
The
princess-like.
Hohenzollern Castle is the ancestral seat of the imperial house of Hohenzollern, sitting pretty on top of Mount Hohenzollern, about an hour southwest of Stuttgart. It was originally built in the 11th century, and it also went through several updates and restorations as the years went by.
Hey, bad. Oh, with
The last one
fog?
dates back to 1867, when architect Friedrich August Stuhler got his inspiration from the English Gothic revival architecture and the Chateau of the Loire Valley.
Oh, in
The
French,
castle
French
is a
castle.
must-see, not only for its incredible architecture, but also for the panoramic views it offers.
Yeah.
Number
Great
2.
location.
The picturesque Burg Eltz.
Oh, this
Burg
is
Eltz
pretty.
is probably the world's most beautiful Ganurbenberg, a castle
Oh.
which belongs to several heirs and descendants of the Eltz family.
Oh, but it's
This
a
stunning
family.
hill castle is very well preserved, a statement of the gorgeous Romanesque and Baroque architectural style.
Beautiful, yeah.
2/3 of the castle are open to the public,
It's kind of crazy because everything's sort of on top of each other, so I don't understand how the thing's built and how it's still standing. But yeah, sure, it's gorgeous.
and the third is being used by a branch of the family as their private residence.
Oh, they live
It is
there
a
as well.
grandiose palace,
Okay.
hidden in a forest, that's definitely worthy of a visit.
This is crazy. How,
Finally,
again, it's
we're
just,
at number 1. The Neuschwanstein Castle,
Oh, this is
probably
the
the
famous
world's
one.
most famous castle.
Yeah.
This idyllic 19th century Romanesque revival palace is situated near Füssen, in the southwestern part of Bavaria, a few
The
steps
snow.
away from the Hohenschwangau Castle.
This is stunning.
King Ludwig II of Bavaria built this palace out of his personal funds, in honor of Richard Wagner, and today it is state-owned.
Okay, sure.
It really is a breathtaking
Big fan.
sight, with a mesmerizing architecture, that also inspired the castle in the Disney movie Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah, I can
Since
see
it is a
that.
very popular attraction, their rules for guided tours and photos are pretty strict, but there are a
Oh,
few
really?
special platforms from where you can take that picture-perfect photo. This
Super
video
crowded,
is
I
just a
bet.
quick guide, meant to show you 15 of the most beautiful castles you can visit in Germany. It can definitely get overwhelming, but depending on what your itinerary is,
Yeah.
you are bound to find one on your next trip there.
Yeah, of course you're gonna
We
find
hope you
one
enjoyed
or
this
two.
video. Don't forget to click that like button, leave a comment, and of course, subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.
This, I said it earlier in the video. I do not understand how they have so many beautiful castles. Well, I kind of do understand, of course, but I think it's part luck and part, I don't know, a willingness to actually preserve a lot of these castles because they're so old. But also, I think they're just more than old. I think they're just very pretty. One of my main takeaway about this was I didn't know how many of them were private owned still to this day. Because I think, I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I associate castles with something, a bygone era. I don't really associate castles with something that's, you live in a castle. I think that's really outdated, but not in the sense, not in a bad way. I just think it's a little bit outdated, just the concept of you living in a castle. I think that's a little weird. Most people these days live in apartment buildings or they live in houses. So the fact that you live, if you meet someone and they're, oh, where do you live? And they'll be, oh, I live in a castle. You be what? Or you live, I live in the Dragon Castle. What do you mean you live in a castle? Obviously, probably, people are not going to go around advertising this. Probably they are, because I think a lot of these families, one of them, I from what I could understand, has been passed around from family to, the descendants. It belongs to a particular family back in the, 1800s, probably. And not an imperial family, but yeah, of course, someone with a title or, a duke or something. And then, it has been passed around until the living descendants. So maybe that's why, again, and keeping a title for that many years, I think that's also quite a feat, because I think it's really hard, because once you get, they made you a duke or duchess or whatever, they made you a lord, but not lords. I know that apparently, dukes and, it depends on the duchy, whatever the reason. What, you have a grand title, great, amazing, I'm gonna build my castle, but it's you and your immediate family in that first generation. You build a castle, great, amazing. But then, of course, people used to, obviously back in those days, they used to have 1,000 kids. So it's, I have 15 kids, let's say. Well, maybe I'm over exaggerating, but let's say at least 8 kids. And then all those 8 kids, then all of them, they also have 10 to 12 kids and 7 kids. So of course, they're going to be fighting over the castle. I think if it happens normally in normal situations with normal people, everyone starts fighting over, property. I can't, grandpa's property, and I can't even imagine how it would be if the family owned a castle. And again, because the more you go and the more years go by, the more the decades go by, the property gets smaller in a sense, because obviously there's more living descendants. So you have to share it, that first generation, great, you only have to share with my 7 siblings. But then, by the time you're older, it's, oh yeah, I have to share it with my, grandnephews and my nephews and my grandchildren and my great-great-grandchildren. And of course, everything becomes such a huge castle. A huge hassle. So I understand why probably a lot of these people end up selling it, because it's kind of silly, right? Oh, well, how are we going to handle this? You get 1 week a year, and then everyone gets 1 week a year. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. Each immediate family gets one month. No, it doesn't even make sense. It would be 1 week or even less than a week by the time it comes, by the time we're in this in this day and age. So I just think it's a marvel that one of them is, no, it still belongs to the family. Maybe you obviously have to you have to be very clear in your will. I am leaving this castle to this person, and then obviously, for perpetuity, I don't really understand how it works, succession laws, but still, it's quite a thing, this castle has been in my family for 200 years, 100 years. It's kind of crazy. The other thing is that either the other ones that didn't really belong to the original families, but they're still private owned. I would imagine they weren't obviously the original families. It's just, some people, because again, I can't even imagine how much these castles cost. again, the price of property and of houses. I don't understand this can be considered a house because, technically, yeah, of course you can live there, but, I don't really say it's not a house, it's not a flat, it's not an apartment, it's a huge thing. So I can't even imagine how much it cost, but, let's say, yeah, of course, no, it's not for regular people that are going to be buying this castle. But if you have a rich family and, again, it's within their means, which apparently it's the case for a lot of these castles, why wouldn't you, right? It's a rich family. They have their money in whatever. They don't have anything to do with royalty. But, again, they have the money. So I guess, yeah, why wouldn't you buy a castle? I probably would. I think, yeah, if I had the money, I would absolutely buy a castle. I think they're gorgeous. They're very pretty. So, yeah, I don't know if they're for sale because I don't know how you would go around buying a castle. I don't know if they're for sale. Probably, I can look at it and see, oh my God, I'm marveled by the beauty. I want to live there. But probably, this city, it belongs to the city, probably belongs to the government. They're probably, no, it's not for sale. But maybe some of them are, which I would be interested to know how that whole sort of legal process occurs and how something, belong at a certain point to the government, then they sell it to a private sort of owner. I would imagine it's the other way around. Once the private ownership is lost, and then, I don't know, the city hall buys it or the government buys it, then I think it's pretty hard because then it becomes, a UNESCO World Site, or it becomes, property of the actual regions. Of course, they want to preserve it. So I think probably, it's harder for them to sell it later on. But yeah, I would love to know the logistics because it's crazy. And also, I would love to know the logistics of living in there as in your actual daily life. Because I know that castles have wings and they're very separate from one another, as we could see from the video. And it was very, there's 3 sections divided into 3 sections. And then, you have one that it's a hotel and the other is a museum open to the public. And then another wing, it's for the private, for the people, for the family to actually live there. I think it's just, that's a weird concept to me, you're putting on, I live in the Schwerin Castle. I live in the Hostelstein Castle. It's what? That's such a weird thing. Imagine you're inviting people over and then where do you live? It's, I'll send you the address. And then you see a castle. It's this right? I don't think this is right. How is the logistics as it, because a lot of these castles seem sort of nestled in the woods. So I don't know how exactly you get there. Probably obviously by car, I would assume. But I'm having, the trees is beautiful. It's very pretty as well. Because I think the trees sort of cover the actual road. So it's their parking. What's the parking situation? Where do I park? Is it a private garage? Where it's located? I am not really sure if I understand sort of the space. And then, you have to go through the other entrance because that's, the museum entrance. You have to go to my private sort of rooms, to my private wing. And that's, another place. So you're going to have to, do I just walk around the whole thing? I don't know. It's just such a strange thing to me. And I would love to not just visit the museum, but actually, the ones that people live there, I would love to know. I don't want to take a look inside. Probably it's really hard. It's their private house. It's their private homes. They're not going to open this to the public. But I'll be so curious to know, how do they look from the inside? Is it modern looking, or do they sort of retain the whole, the whole vintage thing of, want to remain authentic? Because of course you don't need to, but that's what the museum is for. And obviously the outside sort of, the structure is going to remain the same. It's going to be an old thing. But I wonder if when you get into the living room or, the kitchen, are those old or are they sort of renovated and they look as any other apartment? I would assume probably they do something and they do some remodeling and they've done some renovations. And probably when you're inside the castle in those private rooms, they probably look as they look as a normal apartment. But I would love to know, which, I have to find a friend that owns a castle so I can satisfy my curiosity, which, it looks like a hard thing to do. And that was it for today, and I'll see you next time. Bye!